Welcome back to the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight. We got Mike Straw with us. People might know Mike Straw from me kicking his ass in NHL 22 and NBA 2K22 on Twitch. You might know him from Sports Gamers Online, Full Press NHL. You might know him from Fightful Select, where he's pissing off WWE 2K executives and the team over there. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, and yeah, pissing off. That's the nice way to put it. Let's put it this. To say they're not happy with me would be an understatement.
Well, that's the first question. Can you talk about this? Can you talk about the heat you've got from the 2K offices?
Bully Ray would be so proud of me. Like he'd be my best friend if he knew about how mad they are, because all I do is report salacious and malicious material. Yeah, I mean they weren't happy when I reported on Fightful Select that WWE had talked with EA. I mean, not surprising. Contracts coming to an end. Talks were going to happen. It just, I found out they talked to EA, and it kind of senses, based on how things are going, though, that 2K has nothing to worry about. So they shouldn't be mad at me. If anything, I gave them the best publicity ever, because every comment on Fightful Select was, this is the best marketing that 2K22 could have had, because so many people are more anti-EA than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, EA has ruined video game franchises like Madden for years. So at least 2K, the NBA franchise is great. Every EA franchise is god awful.
Yeah, I won't say god awful. I do enjoy NHL. I do enjoy their franchise mode. Gameplay, yeah, it's kind of the drizzling shits.
The teammates are so stupid in Be a Pro mode. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't play Be a Pro at all. I can't. I can't. I get drafted and then I'm done. I just want to see if I can get to the number one pick and then I'm done.
Fair. Dude, EA is frustrating as hell, because like I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but I used to play Battlefront on and then like the second one, and it was pretty fun online, and then the second one came out, and I tried playing it when it came out, and it was like clearly just pay to win. Like you had to
was it Battlefront 1 or 2? I think it was 2 that had, you could actually purchase a card that said automatically win. Like you play the power up and your team wins that game.
It's so
What's
ridiculous.
The point?
I know, it was so ridiculous. Like, so and being a fan of Madden from like the kind of late 90s through, recently, I kind of gave up on that too, because it was like playing online. We have to like buy all these cards to get like the right players for your team, and then like you're like spending all your time trying to like level your team up without paying all this money, and you're just out there losing to people who are just buying better players than what you're buying with real money. Like it was, so the EA like totally drove me off as a fan. Now I'm not a big NHL guy, but like I imagine the games would still be pretty good if y'all are still playing those. But yeah, I was pretty bummed out when I heard that. Well, here's the other thing. I haven't played the WWE games in a few years either, because they've been so stale and repetitive. So like I'm waiting for this AEW game. Like that's like my big like saving grace potentially, is like I'm hoping the AEW game is actually something like those N64 THQ AKI games. Like, but I don't know. Mike, am I right in kind of feeling this about EA and them as like developers and everything?
Yes and no. My biggest thing with EA has always been, once Ultimate Team was introduced in FIFA 09, executives saw dollar signs.
Yeah.
And there's so much red tape and so many high-level people squashing everything the executive producers want to do, development staff want to do. That's what bothers me. Just because knowing so many developers that I do, I feel terrible for them, because there's a lot of great ideas that get thrown around and talked about, and then they get squashed because they don't bring in money, and it sucks. And that's kind of where we're at as a whole with the industry, and it's so upsetting about it.
Because that's a good point, because I know a lot of times when it comes to video games and people being upset, like they will go to the devs and stuff as like the complaints. But I guess what you're saying, it does make a lot of sense. Essentially, even if the developers have good intentions, they want to make the game great, if EA is kind of on their neck going, no, we're just going to keep doing this and this and this because it's making money, there's just nothing they can do about it. That's a really good point you brought up. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, and I feel bad because, I mean, again, with sports games, they're on yearly cycles. And by yearly cycles, they have about 9 months to really build a game and get it ready and then tweak it. So It's so sad. There's a lot of things with the gaming industry I don't like that would take like 2 hours I could talk about. I could do a book on what's wrong with the gaming industry today.
The microtransaction stuff, you mentioned Ultimate Team, and I groaned because that has come to Madden, that is with the NHL,
Every mode.
Yeah, 2K
even
has
WWE,
it now with WWE started it this year with my faction.
With my faction, it's the only mode with microtransactions, but I can guarantee, and this is no me talking to anybody there about it, but everything points to this is a test on where it works, and I don't like where it's going.
I was wondering how WWE would find a way to incorporate that, because it's with every sports game now, this type of mode. And I have not touched the My Faction mode. I'm not going to touch it because I don't touch any of that stuff in any of the sports games. I just have no time for it. So let me draft my team, let me play franchise mode. I'm good. Even
at SGO, when people go to our reviews on our games, we get a lot every now and then of like, well, what about Ultimate Team? What's new in Ultimate Team? If you go to Sports Gamers Online, you will never see an Ultimate Team mentioned in any of our reviews. I refuse to touch it, and I tell my writers don't touch it.
I wish there was a way that they could do like the Fortnite model of like, but it's different with wrestling, I guess, because like you have so many individual wrestlers with different attributes and different moves, and some wrestlers are just better than other wrestlers. But like I like how Fortnite did it, where the game was free and you can buy all this cosmetic stuff like skins and stuff, but like it didn't affect your skill in the game.
I'm okay with those types of microtransactions like Rocket League.
Right.
Expensive as all hell, but it's cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. With sports games, it's very tough to do.
Right.
So it's one of those. I mean, the only game where I've ever seen Ultimate Team added bomb so bad that it was pulled was EA Sports UFC. They pulled it after UFC 3. Yep. And it made me so happy. I was so proud.
I didn't play it that year, but I saw it and I was just like, this is why I don't think it's going to work with WWE too well. It's like, I just don't think it makes sense on how you're going to do this. And then I played a little bit of UFC 4. I didn't even notice it was missing because I just don't pay attention to those modes at all. I was like, oh, it's
the closest you'll get is what like a supercard does. That's the closest you can get. And it's kind of but it's kind of weird. It'll be interesting to see like if it ever gets further than the My Faction, and we'll see what it'll be interesting come the summer and the fall when we can actually get an idea of what modes are the most played within the game, because that information takes a little while to build.
Yeah. Bringing up the UFC game, that's a really, really good point too. That's another game that once EA took over, I became less of a fan of. I really liked when Ukes and THQ made the UFC Undisputed games. They were just like a lot more fun to play. And now it feels like when they're putting out these UFC games, like they try to make them like as ultra realistic as possible. But like, I didn't get a whole lot of replay value out of the most recent one. Like I'm a massive UFC fan. It's like I want to play the UFC game. I want to play the WWE game. It just feels like I want to play Madden. It just feels like every year it's just so repetitive. I just feel like it kind of wastes my money when I keep buying them.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, that's the same, and that's the thing. Like UFC, they do it the right way. They come out every other year, every year, 2.5 years. And with THQ, I don't know who I was talking to about it about a week and a half ago, because we were talking about WWE, and it was a case of you didn't know what you had until it was gone. Because once THQ went under and it lost the UFC license, it lost the WWE license, people just got stuck with what they got. And you don't see much innovation anymore. And this is kind of where we're at. And especially as larger publishers keep buying all these smaller developers, it's rare we're going to get any competitors from outside. That's why you brought the AW game. And I'm so interested to see what they do, but I'm also very nervous about
it's a lot of hype like,
right now,
because all of us have such an attachment to like those games, like from the N64 era, especially once you could play as wrestlers in 3D and like all these extra moves and finishing moves and all the cool stuff you could do with it. Like, have you played any of like the Action Arcade Wrestling or Wrestling Empire or like any of those kind of games?
Action Arcade Wrestling, I'm actually working on an updated review of it for the Switch once that came out. It is one of my most fun games to play with friends, because
I have it on the Switch, by the way.
Yeah, so, same here. Where else can you wrestle Space Ghost versus number 2 pencil?
Yes.
It is, and it'd be hilarious. Or you can create every character from Mortal Kombat and just go to town. And it's a great fantasy custom creation type of game. Wrestling Empire makes me really happy to see where it's come, because there was M. Dickey in 2006, Wrestling Encore. I fell when I was like in high school. I'm in love. I had no friends in high school. I was a wrestling dork. No one talked to me back then. I played that a lot, and I would mod it because there was a mod called the Wrestling Channel for it. And you had all these real world mods, and it was fantastic. People would create the Impact Zone. I punched my mic. People would create the Impact Zone, and it was just so much fun to do. And seeing Wrestling Empire and seeing what they're doing, and that's my nostalgia. And then I still play Fire Pro constantly. Yeah. Fire Pro is when I want to sit down and just relax with a wrestling game, which is really weird to say. I relax with Fire Pro. Fire Pro is still my go-to.
I've got Empire and Action Arcade for the Switch, and I feel like Action Arcade is kind of like a spiritual successor to Fire Pro with all the custom. You can literally download like 1,000 wrestlers a day, and they'll have their move sets. They'll look just like them. So that's been kind of the closest thing I feel like I can get for the Switch to Fire Pro would be Action Arcade. But I like Empire a lot as well. It's just it's different, and it's just fun.
You're not going in there for great graphics or incredible gameplay. You're going to see what ridiculous things can happen. Like the fact that it actually happened last night. So I had to create a character in my career, and I died. After 2 matches, I was like, all right, I'm going to start a new career. And I'm talking with a few friends because we're checking out the new update with the roaming mode where you can go around to like a bar or cemetery and all this stuff that they just added. And I'm sitting there. I do my 2 matches. I'm working for Anthony Chinoki. And right after my second match, I died at the age of 24 by natural causes. Okay.
You live in a hard life at age 24, Straw.
Out in Japan.
Yeah.
They took COVID way too seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love how like silly, over the top, just goofiness Empire is. Because I mean, you mentioned Chinoki, like they don't use the real names, but you know who is who. Yeah,
and calling him Chinoki.
Yeah,
and they made his chin even more prominent. It's like a tissue box.
Yeah, just the stupid stuff you can do in that game. There's just so much like comedy entertainment value in something like that. I can't say I really like dove into Action Arcade, but now you guys are making me be like, oh, okay. And you said they're like for Switch as well, so that's going to make me want to check it out.
The best part about it is, so on PC, their creator suite is free, so you can create your wrestlers on PC, arenas, whatever, and then download them wherever you play the game.
Okay.
And there's thousands now. Granted, with Action Arcade, like there's no single player modes. It's literally just go in a bunch of exhibition matches. But they're so damn fun. Like when you talk about games for like doing on like stream, that's a type of game like on Fightful Gaming that I think people would have a blast watching.
Yeah, that's something we need to do more of. I'm going to yell at Joel Pearl.
I've brought this game up before, just for what it's worth. I
believe you.
Before,
I believe you. There's always so many things going on here at the Spotlight offices that.
There's a lot of good wrestling games out there. If we want to talk wrestling games, right now it's a very fun time to be a wrestling fan. From not even being a fan and watching everything that happens, but being a wrestling fan gamer. There are so many independent games in development that are out that need attention, whether it be on mobile or on PC or console or whatever it may be. Like, it's such a good time that for as bad as people complain about what's going on with WWE and everything, like if you look elsewhere and you really care about and you're a wrestling fan, like you'll find something that you fall in love with.
This is the most important question I could probably ask you all day, Mike. Would you be able to help me figure out how to like download? Because I've tried a couple times. I just don't know how to like extract the stuff properly, I guess. But I really want to play WCW Feel the Bang.
Oh, yeah.
But I need help. But I need help downloading it. I'm gonna need someone like to walk me through how to download it. I wound up like downloading the emulator that basically just got me No Mercy 64, but I couldn't figure out how to like mod that into.
You don't even need the emulator for it. The Feel the Bang allows you to just run it without doing anything. You just got to be able to. I'll help you.
Okay, thank you. That's that. I've been wanting to play for like 2 years or whatever. But
Jens is like, this is the most important question I'm gonna ask you. How can I play this certain game? Okay,
that's the thing. The No Mercy mods. There are so many. There's AEW mods. There's old school TNA mods. If you want to play from TNA from 04 to 07, like the glory years, there's that. There's CZW mods. There's Ring of Honor, old school Ring of Honor mods. There are so many that, man, you never have to play another game if you are in love with No Mercy.
I've seen a lot of like streamers and stuff just like download those mods and just play them, like you said, on No Mercy, and it seems like there's like that's the way to go nowadays. Just do that. Who cares about this new WWE 2K game where you got Iron Man cage matches or Hell in a Cell matches and everything that never end?
Even what? Here Comes the Pain. There's the Here Comes the Pain 2.0 mod.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't even know about that, but that was a great game.
It's incredible. I did a story on it a year and a half ago on Sports Gamers Online about what I did. I talked to the guy who's behind the development of it, and the recreating that him and the couple people who are working on it, like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens in the game and Nakamura, like it looks like just they were built for that game. It's fantastic what they were able to do with that, and it's constantly being updated. Granted, it's by a 1 and 2 or 2 people mostly, so it takes a while, but it's another fantastic mod.
Mike, I want to ask you, because I actually do want to ask about your career. How'd you get started with Sports Gamers Online?
So SGO came out by chance because I was covering the Sabres. I was a beat writer for the Sabres from 2011 until about mid 2016. I just got tired of covering the NHL, to be honest, at the time, because they got boring. Everybody gave you the same canned responses. You never got anything entertaining.
Hockey players are very boring by nature.
Yeah, they're not allowed to show the boys aren't allowed to show emotion. Yeah. It's obnoxious. We need more players like PK Subban.
True,
personality wise. But I wanted to switch, and I'd done gaming writing and technology writing for Fansided, which is actually where I met Sean. And SGO popped up on a journalism job board, so I reached out, and within a month after starting there, I went from, all right, you're going to be just a reporter or a writer. And then I was like, hey, do you want to edit? Because you have that experience. Yeah. And then a few months later, I was made managing editor, and it was just like, now I run everything. So it kind of snowballed. But I mean, I've been there almost 6 years now, and it's just been, it's been so much fun. I've ruffled a lot of feathers, but I've made a lot of friends, and I get to play. I get to write about video games for not a full living, but half a living.
I mean, that's the dream, right? That's what I always tell people. It's like, yeah, I just get to write about wrestling, and there's days that suck and you piss people off. But at the end of the day, like, you're just writing about wrestling, talking about wrestling, chatting with your friends for the majority of the day. Exactly.
I get to look at my mom and go, see, when you told me all those video games won't pay off, guess who literally gets paid to play them? This guy. And write about him. Granted, the biggest downfall, I always say, like, I tell a lot of people this. They've asked, like, how do you get to cover video games, or what do you don't get to enjoy them as much as you do as a fan? Because I'm literally, and it really sucked when I covered the whole gaming industry. I'd bounce from game, and I still do it though, game to game to game. You write game, impressions, a couple preview articles, a review, move on to the next game. Game, impressions, preview article, review, and you just go. I don't really get to sit and enjoy some of the great games I play. Like Formula One is one of my favorite series, but I don't get to enjoy it for more than like 2 months out of the year.
This is why I actually hate all of wrestling, because I'm so in the bubble that I can't stand any of it. It's like, yeah, I just listened to another this person interview today. I can't stand any of these people. I hate WWE, hate AEW, but love this business. That's what I tell everybody.
That's kind of where I got with NHL, actually. I stopped liking the game, and then I took away. I was able to become a fan again, and then I got back into it. I'm like, all right, I want to get back into it. Small, short, and full press was there, and I needed someone to talk, and I like to talk.
And now I've booked myself for your trade deadline show.
Yep.
Next week, so.
It happened on the dark match before we went
live
here.
Before we even go on the air.
Yeah.
No one will. No.
I tuned into like immediately. Like, I'm pretty sure I just booked myself for this. Like, bless Mike is just gonna have me on to
whatever.
To there. Yeah.
Get that Colorado Avalanche fan perspective.
I mean, that's the only perspective I really have. I don't keep up with the league like outside of my team. Like I check in on stuff, but obviously my team is the one that I know best. I'm gonna ask Steven Jensen's question because I know he wants to ask it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Why do you hate Raw so much?
It is so boring. It is the Friends combined. This is gonna piss people off. It is the Friends combined with Seinfeld of television.
Wait a second.
None of it makes sense. And every character sucks.
So you hate Friends and Seinfeld? This is the bigger news here than
100%. I think they're two of the most overrated pieces of garbage television programs ever invented.
Now, do you like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I have never watched a single episode of it.
It's my favorite show ever. Everyone compares it to Seinfeld, but like I don't think Seinfeld's that funny. But like I think It's Always Sunny. But it's like you know what I understand why they draw comparisons between the shows. But
yeah, I'm rare into television shows like that. I stick with stupid animation and comedies but like I never watched a single episode of Always Sunny.
Now Always Sunny is it's a straight comedy. Like it's but they're the worst human beings alive. Like
I'm also the type of person. The more people say I need to check out a show, the more I refuse to out of spite. I don't care if I'll like the show. I will refuse to watch it out of spite.
Well, you should not watch Always Sunny then, Mike. You should just never watch that.
I need like 100 more people to tell me not to watch it to catch up to the amount of people.
Everyone tag Mike on social media. It's right there in the corner above him. Be like, don't watch Always Sunny. And then out of spite, he will actually watch the show and fall in love with it.
Yeah, that's probably what'll happen.
I did that with Breaking Bad. I didn't ever watch it while the show actually aired. And then once the finale aired, I was like, all right, I'm just going to see what this is all about finally. And I was like, damn, I wish I was watching this the whole time. This is such a good show.
I'm the type of person, I don't like finales. I've never watched a series finale of any show I've ever liked. I refuse closure.
Wow. Is there any deeper issues that you'd like to go into?
Oh, there's a lot. You got time? You got a notebook, a couch for me to lay on? I refuse to watch series finale. Like I've never seen the end of That 70s Show, and that was one of my favorite shows ever when I was younger. But I refuse, though I also refuse to acknowledge that season 8 existed.
Fair. True. Yeah. I haven't seen That 70s Show in forever. But I don't even remember what the finale is. Yeah. But you're probably not missing much by
I've never watched the finale of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I've never watched the finale of Boy Meets World. I've never watched growing up, never watched any of them because I don't like them.
Well, you can watch the Boy Meets World finale now because now they have Girl Meets World. So it goes right into that.
And that's the thing. I loved Girl Meets World. Admittedly, my wife and I used to watch. That was appointment viewing when it was on the air because we're an old married couple.
It was a good show. Disney. Honestly, it was. I binged it like one summer. It was a good show.
Then it stopped. I say it everywhere.
Jensen a hell of a drug. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
Watching? Well, no,
and
that's basically. No,
that's why I like wrestling so much, though. There's no finale. It's just I'll find the wrestlers I like. Like there's finales to careers, but
sometimes
the sport itself doesn't end. And I think that's why I always loved it. But yeah, Raw, it's just to go back to that, it's just so boring. If there's people I'm interested in, I'll catch it up on YouTube or I'll listen. And if it's something really interesting, usually shameless plug for you guys, I'll listen to the post Raw or post SmackDown podcasts and listen and then see if there's something worth going back. So we DVR everything. But right now, only AEW is my appointment. Like I watch it live every week type of thing. And that's because the wrestling is fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm right there with you. We were talking a little bit beforehand where, I have ruined relationships over watching Raw every Monday before in my life where I would prioritize Raw over everything for 30 years. And now it's at a point where I'm literally accepting applications for somebody to watch Raw for me just so I can know when Cody Rhodes shows up because I don't care about anything else that they're doing in the company. So and I'm a niche kind of outlier too because most people don't like Cody, so they're either hoping he doesn't show up to WWE because they don't want him there, or they're hoping he shows up to WWE because they feel like it's a big middle finger to AEW. And I'm over here where I'm going to be a giant AEW fan regardless because their product is so great in my opinion. But that's
it's funny you love Cody so much. I remember. So I went to my wife. I got her, sat her on the floor in 2009. We were at a Raw in May 4th, 2009. I remember these dates for some stupid reason. And Cody Rhodes was coming out for a match against, I think it was Batista, because it was going to be whoever won joined for a handicap match in the main event. And he was coming out and he was heel. And all of a sudden, my wife sitting along the ramp just yells, "I love you, Cody." And it was an entrance during a commercial. And the look of confusion on his face of someone caring about him made my absolute night. No one, because it was silent when he entered. No one cared about him. and then you just hear this one high squealed woman yell, "I love you, Cody." And
I love that. I love that.
Cody, did you watch NXT on Tuesday, Mike? Cody showed up there. Did you guys not see Cody showing up on NXT 2.0? He
no,
crashed.
I'm
crashed
waiting because
Miz
I thought
TV with Dolph Ziggler, and now Cody is going for the NXT Championship.
no, I'm waiting. No. I don't watch NXT. I've been watching SmackDown because the damn Lambs has said he's going to show up on SmackDown to lose to Veer. So I'm sitting there waiting here.
Lambs had the Jericho Appreciation Society scoop. I don't know where this man gets his information, but he's pretty smart, honestly.
The scoop's here, and I'm just watching SmackDown, and I feel like I'm being strung along here because Veer never comes.
No.
At some point he will.
He's got to talk to a doctor.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping his gimmick winds up being like what was his name? Jim in American Pie, where like he finally shows up and like makes it like 2 steps onto the entrance ramp. He's like, oh, and then walks backstage and then comes back out a second time and it happens again. So then everybody's like holding up like the deuces. I like his new gimmicks of like 2 times, man. He came to Raw 2 times. So that's my new Veer gimmick.
I love it.
And he never gets in the ring. He never makes it to the match. Just like Jim from American Pie. He never actually gets there. Is
he gonna be like? Is this how The Rock comes back? Because he just hands him a pie and it's just like, here, you know what to do with this?
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Yeah, that would be top tier level storytelling and
I'd watch.
Just like Mike said, there's no finales. Like these are things that all connect from 50 years worth of entertainment.
Exactly.
So people would definitely put together, oh, The Rock's got the pie. Veer's going for the pie. Veer can't get he's gonna get in the pie, but he's not gonna get in like the actual ring for an actual match. He'll get to the pie, maybe.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Jensen. I absolutely love it.
I don't know. I'm sold.
Right, there you go. Sounds like
I love it. It's completely it's outrageous, but I absolutely love it. Like I imagine they have no idea what they're actually doing with Veer. So
I'm just saying. Booty Pro Wrestling wishes it could have come up with a story like that.
True. Honestly, true.
Maybe it'd still be around if it could.
Yeah, instead of it get blown up by everybody. Mike, last one. What's the coolest thing you have in the room that you're in right now?
These posters, to be honest.
Pretty sweet.
So there's a lot of things. Like I have my racing setup, I have the PS5, I have VR, like everything. But these posters, they're literally the guy who does them, Richard Perry, takes individual pictures. He takes apart the component of the console, takes individual pictures, and then does his photo editing magic to make it look like it's all just like a sandwich.
Okay, so it's a console.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure out because
we have
very
we have the Game Boy N64 and then I got a Dreamcast and a Switch down there, and I plan on adding for every single console he does.
I thought the N64 was like some type of toaster. I could tell it was like a mechanical, like sandwich type thing. I thought it was some type of like toaster, but it being console makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, this is all gaming posters.
Those are pretty sweet.
And it's just going to be, it's going to add, this entire room's going to be filled with these breakdown posters.
Now, I have seen a Nintoaster before. So those do exist.
I'd use
one.
Nintendo
toaster. Yes.
Wow.
Angry video game
nerd. Is it print like N64 on your toast? Like the Nintendo logo?
No. You can play actual original NES cartridges in what looks like it's like a toaster that's been converted into an actual Nintendo. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. The Angry Video Game Nerd on YouTube. He's been around for like 15 years on YouTube.
Yeah.
He uses that when he plays his Nintendo games. He puts it in a toaster and it's like an actual thing.
God.
I got 2 questions for you, Mike, before we get out of here. One, what is your favorite video game console of all time? So I'll answer that one first.
Sega Genesis.
I love that's my first system that I ever owned. I
think that's why it's my favorite, because it is my first. I feel like I shouldn't go that route, but I'm going to anyway because I just have nostalgia.
I respect it. My first system was the Genesis. My favorite system is the N64, but I have a really soft spot for like the PS2 and the Sega Dreamcast as well. But I was just talking the other day to some people that are like way younger than we are, and I was literally showing them how you could put a Game Genie and then a Sonic and Knuckles on top of that, and then a Sonic 2 on top of that, and like triple stack to like put cheat codes all the way into Sonic 2. But
greatest thing ever was when I hooked up a Sega CD to my Genesis. It's like
wait, hold on. I apologize. Anything. I apologize, Mike Straw. I'm cutting you off right here. The Avs have traded Tyson Jost for Nico Sturm. I don't know about this trade.
They're gearing up.
They've got to, right?
They're gearing up. That's exactly why they're gearing up.
I mean, Sturm's got 36 points this season. He's not.
That's the only thing. They're gearing up 100% for something bigger.
Oh man, I apologize for cutting off the video. Like this, literally just came across. I apologize for that.
All good. Breaking news. Breaking news. That'll be old news. By the
time
and then it's funny because like I can't even add to the NHL conversation, but I can say PK Subban. I know who he is because I'm a Predators fan from living in Nashville for so long. So like I do know who that is.
Any other guest? I'm not interrupting with a hockey trade, but because it's Straw, I'm like, well, I gotta say something.
Well, now that I said they're gearing up, keep it in, and then hopefully they've geared up and gotten who they need, gotten a Giroux, or maybe they went out and they decided because they get rid of Yost, they bring in a Ben Chariot. Who knows?
Yeah.
The second question I had was, do you watch any Twitch streamers, YouTube streamers, anyone that was on Mixer or anything? And if so, like what streamers do you like as a fan?
I only watch Fightful Gaming on Twitch.
Okay.
No, I'm not even joking. They're the only gaming channel I do watch. I'm not big in watching live streams. I do watch a lot of like video game developer streamers because that's kind of a side of the industry I'm working towards getting into because my 9 to 5 is I'm a software developer. So I kind of want to transition that and get into game development. So I've been watching a lot of that lately. That's usually kind of where Lana Lux is like my favorite one. She's independent game developer out of Toronto, and just it's fantastic to watch and see her grow as a developer, and she's very friendly with giving advice or anything like that to anybody who's interested.
Very cool. You said her name was Lana Lux?
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay, cool. Shout out to Lana. Very cool.
Yeah. And also from a wrestling note real quick, because we talked about like we loved like Jeremy, you love the industry, and we're all here, like we all watch wrestling. Fightful exists because people love the industry. I am so stoked. Memorial Day weekend at Empire State Wrestling, the biggest local E-Fed here in Western New York, Buddy Matthews versus Trey Miguel is headlining their show. And I am just through the moon excited for that match.
That's going to be great.
That's going to be a banger match right there. That's a good match. Mike, where can the people find you at?
Twitter at Mike Straw Media. I'm not on really any other social media just because I'm too lazy to keep up with everything else. And if you want to read my written work, sportsgamersonline.com.
There you go, Mike. We appreciate you joining us. At some point, we're gonna play NHL or NBA or WWE on Twitch, and I'm gonna like win your career or your job or one of those posters behind you or something. I got to give you like some scoops from Sean. I'm not giving up anything of value. I'll feed you any scoops from Sean that you want.
Give me all the scoops.
Yeah, you can have all the scoops. Mike, we appreciate it. Guys, we'll be right back here in just a second on the Spotlight.